Hi, this is Deborah from Dinglefoot Scrapbooking, and this week I'm going to show you what I've been working on. This is for my mother and father-in-law's 50th wedding anniversary, but this would work great for a wedding invitation or an anniversary card also. So you can see I have 50 years on there, and if I tip this card up into the light, you can see there's a lot of gold on it, of course, for their 50th anniversary. And I didn't have any specialty paper, but for this paper, I simply used some gold glimmer mist, so it looks like this. I'm going to be using that, and also gold stickles, and I have gold stickers. So if you were making a wedding invitation or an anniversary card, you would need something different. I'm going to be using these little stickers that say 50 years, and these are from Best Creation. So I have those. I have a piece of sheer gold ribbon, and that's 6 inches long, and I have this little bride and groom die cut, and I cut this out of pearl paper, but I'm going to age it to match my card, and I'm going to be using old paper ink to do that. So I have a cream card and a little bit darker of a cream colored cardstock that fits the front. It's about 4 3/4 inches by 5 inches. So I have that, and I'm going to be using a border punch. Now when I started making the invitations, I just used paper that was straight across. I just cut it, and it just looked a little bit too plain to me. So I decided to use a border punch on that. And I have just a plain old paper punch that you get at any office store. So I'll be using that. And of course some glue. And I think that's all I need. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, I'm going to take my little bride and groom die cut. I don't know if I mentioned this. I made this on my Cricut. It's from the wedding cartridge, and it's cut at 3 inches. So I'm going to take that die cut, and very carefully, if you can see how thin her arm is there, that can be really easy to rip, so I want to be extremely careful. I've got to make this match my kind of gold other parts of my card that I have there, so I'm going to very carefully just rub this. And the nice thing about the pearl paper is that the pearl part stays kind of white, so I'm going to have that nice white with this old paper that goes on in between, so you can still see I still have that nice pearl sheen, but the paper that's in between the pearl parts is taking up the old paper ink. So just rub that very gently. And then I have this little veil part too, so I'm going to do that. And then I am going to glue her veil on, and I've just been using a plain old glue stick because it's so tiny. I don't want to use some kind of really wet glue because that's going to really make a mess because I can't really get it where I want. So I have her little veil part on there. And then, since this will take a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to grab my gold stickles. And this is so tiny. I don't even know if you can see it on there, but she has little buttons down the back of her dress, and then she has, you can see the fancy skirt part comes around. So I'm going to be putting just little tiny drops of stickles right where the buttons are, and I'm going to put a little bit on the top of the veil, and then I'm going to trace those lines in her skirt. So that's going to be really nice with the gold, and we're of course going to have to set this aside to dry for a while because the stickles can take, if you do it real light like that, it might take about an hour to dry. So I'm going to be setting these aside. And next I'm going to take this piece of beige cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and punch my borders on each end. I'll go ahead and finish that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my borders punched, and next I'm going to take my glimmer mist. And of course with glimmer mist you can see that the glitter goes to the bottom. So you also have to give it a really good shake. Make sure it's all mixed around and there's nothing left on the bottom. Then we're going to take this and just spray down our paper. You can do as much or as little as you want. And you can see the paper kind of starts curling up, but that's not a problem. You can either let this dry on its own, or you can take your heat tool and just dry it yourself, and that will straighten out the paper. Either way, the paper will end up straight when you're done. Okay, so you can see that nice gold shimmer on my paper. My paper is not quite dry, but I'm going to keep working with it. So I'm going to grab my hole punch, and towards the middle here, I'm going to punch 2 holes, and not very far apart. Okay. Okay, so I have my ribbon, and we're going to thread this in through the front. So you can see going through, and I'm going to pull it. This works best, this kind of little bow works best with a very thick ribbon or very wide ribbon. So I'm going to put this corner through and pull it through. You can see we've threaded it through on the front. Now we're going to turn it over, and we're going to cross these. And so this right one is going to go right back through the left hole. So let's see if I can grab it here. I'm going to pull it right through. Same thing with this side. We're going to take it and pull it through. So we just went in through the front, crossed it on the back, and then pulled it through the hole on the opposite side. So that makes the greatest little bow, and you can trim this up. If you have ribbon that frays easily like this one, just make sure you trim it up, trim off the little pieces that are fraying out, and then use a glue stick or something and just gently go over the edges so it doesn't fray anymore. So this is the front for my card, and I'm going to actually use a spray glue to put mine on. So I like the Elmer's Craft Bond. I'm going to be using this. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a little spray to attach it to the front of my card. Okay, so we got our adhesive on. I'm simply going to be putting this towards the top part of my card. I want this part to have enough space to put my stickers on. So I'm going to stick that down. Then it's time to put on my bride and groom. And ordinarily I would have left this to have more time to dry. So I'm going to have to carefully put a little bit of glue on it here. And I'm simply just going to place these right on the front. Okay, and again I used the craft spray. That just sticks it down nice and flat. Whoops, my hands are too sticky now. Okay, I'm going to have to get a little bit extra on his leg here. Kind of missed that part. Okay. Okay, and then all we do to finish this up is grab whatever stickers we want, whether it would be for an anniversary or a wedding, or like this one, the 50 years. So I'm going to be putting those on the front right at the bottom. Okay, and then for the inside, all I'm going to do for my invitation is just use my Word program on my computer and just write out my invitation, tape it up, print them all out, and I'm just going to simply glue those right in the inside. And there we have it, a really simple and nice wedding card. Thanks so much for watching.